All right.
Hey,
Well,
what's going on?
how's it going? Well, hopefully everybody out there had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, relaxing time with family and friends. I know I did. That's why this video's a little late. Got back down here into Woodbury a couple hours ago. But yeah, so it's good to be back. Good to come back following another Minnesota Vikings W. Again, another dramatic. Came down to the very
Yeah.
end, nail biter type of a game. But at this point, that's just kind of what we've come to expect with this football team. Obviously, as the title of this shows, Greg Joseph just money on that kick. There's been money on his kicks as of late, which is huge. Justin Jefferson breaking records, offense looking solid at times. Defensively, more of kind of what we've seen. Nice to see the defense still trying to step up a little bit. They've been bringing more pressure, which is nice, playing a little tighter at certain times, which is huge. Obviously, we'll kind of get into this more when we do our ups and downs from this last game. But at the end of the day, 12-3, you can't be upset about it. And yeah, overall, a really another entertaining football game on Christmas Eve. It was good.
Yeah, the white, I want to say the whiteout thing was super sick. Everybody showed up in their white. That was awesome. It all looked super awesome. But yeah, once again, just another game where just another close game. It just amazes me that every single week it's just the same thing, and we talk about it every single week, but it's just crazy. And this was another game that we thought at one point, like, oh, we were going to destroy them. We had a really good, it was our second drive that looked fantastic. We went down, scored. What did we get the score up to?
It was 10-0 to start.
10-0 at one point.
Yeah.
And it just our defense looked fantastic, just everything looked good, but of course we still let them come back. And we go into the fourth quarter, and then according to Dave, I think Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, we ended up breaking the record. Did we end up breaking the record for the most fourth quarter comebacks in a season then?
I believe so, because technically it did count as a fourth quarter comeback. So
yeah, because we scored right after the fourth quarter started, right?
Yep.
So damn, I mean that's one hell of a stat right there. So
yeah,
crazy,
sure.
crazy. Definitely tells you what kind of season the Vikings are having, and literally, I mean, arguably, the greatest comeback team in NFL history, as far as specifically for regular season, at least. We'll see what happens during playoffs, but
for sure,
yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, should we get more in depth of these and jump into ups and downs for this game?
Let's do it.
All right. So first off, I mean, feels weird to start with special teams, but man, you got to give this guy a ton of credit. Greg Joseph. First up, I'm going to be honest with you. When you line up for that kick, obviously there is Kevin O'Connell dialed up a super nice play to go against Wink Martindale's blitz. Justin Jefferson gets us into that range. Did not think he was going to make it. I thought he was going to I knew he had the leg. I thought he was going to push it either right or left. But man, he stepped up to that thing, hit it true right off his foot. It was going right down the middle. It was all about just making sure he got it there, and he did. And man, Greg Joseph, 2 of 2 on field goals, 3 of 3 on extra points. The guy's been money. You got to give Kevin O'Connell a ton of credit for sticking with him. I think I tweeted something about it too, just more about Kevin O'Connell and the culture he's brought to this team is after that kick, or after how he, he'd struggled a little bit earlier on, and you could have seen Zimmer cutting him in that moment, right? After he missed a few kicks, missed some extra points. But the fact that Kevin O'Connell stuck with him, Matt Daniels got him through the rough patch he went through, and he's been money the last few weeks. He hasn't missed any kicks the last few weeks here. So got to give Greg Joseph a ton of credit. Kicking can be a huge mental strain, as we saw with Blair Walsh. A couple of bad misses. I feel like Greg Joseph has always handled himself with the utmost class, and he always takes full credit for missing kicks. And I thought it was kind of funny at the end of the game. Chris Thomason's like, so you made the first 56-yarder week 1, and then you missed 5 in a row, missed some extra points. And Greg Joseph's like, hey, Chris, thanks for reminding me. And just, I don't know. Got to give Greg Joseph a ton of credit, man. I guess that's what it comes down to. 61-yarder to win the game. Huge. Absolutely ballsy kick by Greg Joseph.
Yeah. Before I talk about Greg Joseph, I just want to give a reminder that we are giving away this Justin Jefferson rookie card. We've been doing it every single week. We're going to continue to do it. For information how to enter this, it's through our Instagram. So you have to go to the description below. Our username's in there. Go on our Instagram, you'll be able to see our giveaway post and kind of get the directions on how to get into that. But we will give this away at the end of the show. Back to Greg Joseph though, just like you said, man, I did like it's easy to be worried about him missing that kick because what he hit a 56. Did you already say this? Did he hit a 56 against the Packers? Ever since then, has he hit any over 50?
I think he hit one a couple weeks ago when
A
he
couple
kind of
weeks
started
ago.
to turn
Besides
things
that, so
around.
it's like, but to go from 50, so 5 more yards from 56 to 50, if my math is correct, which I believe it is, 56 to 61 yards.
Longest kick in Vikings history, broke a record.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Dang. So that's what you're saying with broken record. So that's
Yep.
5 yards. He's been missing 50-yard kicks for most of the time this entire season. And we found out it's just 50-yard kicks isn't his thing. We need to push
60.
back to 60 yards, and then he's money from there all year long. But I wanted to also say this really funny because last week, I forgot what the exact situation was, but last week we had about a 60-yard field goal that we decided to punt on, correct?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So we decided, and which I kind of understood. I was like, man, he hasn't been hitting anything. The most the longest of his career is 56, a 60-yarder. I don't know if we take that chance, whatever he showed this week. We probably should have. And obviously didn't matter. We won last week anyways, but oh man, that was huge. It was like one of those things in your head where it's not like a 30-yard field goal where you're just like so afraid because like if you miss it, it's just a whiff, right? This was one where it was like, there's a good chance we're going into overtime because he misses this. That's how
Right.
I felt. I was
And I
like,
think that's another reason why we decided to kick that, because if he misses it, worst case scenario, you do go to overtime. It's not like
overtime.
they
Yeah.
get the ball at a good spot or anything. So I think that definitely played into why Kevin O'Connell decided to kick it at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what that's what is just crazy. And he nailed it.
Yeah.
And
Give a little
got the victory.
special teams love here. Ryan Wright, 5 punts, 241 yards, 48.2 average. He had 1 inside the 20, should have been 2 inside the 20, but Jalen Speedy Naylor was too speedy and kind of botched that one and punched through the back of the end zone. That would have been down inside the 5-yard line. So huge punt there. Outside of that, not much else talked about on special teams, but got to give the 2 kickers a ton of credit. Our coverage was fairly solid most of the game. I think we had to let him get back to the 30 a couple of times, but overall, pretty happy with special teams. So
yeah, I guess I do want to say that Josh Metellus ended up having a 90 point.
How can I forget about the punt block?
Yeah, Josh Metellus, 90.9 PFF grade, including he was the one that blocked that punt.
Yep.
Dang. So including that was like a play. I must have been doing something. I looked away for a second and then looked back and we blocked the punt.
Yeah.
That was right at the end of the game, right?
What was that?
That was right at the end of the game.
Yep. It led into that Justin Jefferson touchdown.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, a huge play by Josh Metellus there. Josh Metellus, I know he had to start that one game and plays Harrison Smith and didn't go great, but when he comes in relief, obviously he still hasn't had a ton of playing time. Josh Metellus does a really good job out there. So
yeah,
let's get into some downs here. So we didn't really know exactly like what to pick for the downs. We're just going to do some in general. Now, okay, there's Greg Joseph up again. Now, I'm not saying Kevin O'Connell was
he's not down
this
overall because
we're just using him as he's the face of the team. Let's be honest when it comes to the head coach there.
Right.
Defensively, looking at it, we still allowed the Giants to rack up. What was it? 445 total yards. Mac Jones was 30 of 42 for 334. Something called Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James destroyed our defense. Patrick Peterson struggled early on against Hodgins. He said Hodgins was chirping at him a little bit, kind of bit back and said, "I'll get you eventually." And he did have the interception, which was huge. I believe we ended up getting a field goal off of that. Maybe it was a touchdown. I guess I don't really remember exactly what it was. But defensively, again, we're bringing more pressure, which is nice to see. We're playing some tighter coverage at times, but overall the defense still allowing all the yardage. Bad tackling on that Saquon Barkley touchdown near the end there.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell, still the offensive play calling is still spotty at times. Love a couple of the shots to Hawkinson, which we'll get into in a bit here. Don't understand his 3rd and 4th and 2 calls. I think they said one Adam Thielen ran the wrong route. He's supposed to cut in and be that check down guy to get the first down. So I don't know. A few things in this game that didn't quite go how I wanted or how Vikings fans wanted them to. Again, with the defense and some of the overall thing, some of the things on offense is not super consistent at all times. But overall, though, that's why we didn't really have any specific downs. There wasn't a lot to complain about in this game, I didn't feel like. So yeah. Any other
Other
thoughts you
than
have on some downs?
Yeah, is what I wanted to say was, our ability to keep leads. And that's why, I mean, obviously, like you said, this isn't just on Kevin O'Connell. This is like our team as a whole. Once again, and I already said this before, that we did break the record for the most fourth quarter comebacks in a season. Um, but yeah, I mean, just another game where it should never have came to that. Every single game we allow, as soon as we catch a lead and we think we're just gonna roll this team, like just roll right through this team, we let them catch up, and then it comes down to the end of the game, and then we win.
Yep.
What's
Greg?
going on, Greg?
Oh, yep.
You got it.
Yep.
What's going
Thanks
on,
for
Greg?
joining. Yeah, I think at this point we're making excuses because we know they're not going to fire him, and we're just
Yeah.
hoping for the best going into the rest of the season, into the playoffs. Would be my thought on that one.
And at this point with him, the one positive is, after that Lions game, we talked about this on the show. Kevin O'Connell knew we're not going to fire him, but there's something that had to be
Right.
done.
Which
And
actually, Mark Schlereth, who by the way could have been another down, he's learned how to call games, and we did mention that a little bit here as well. He's still a young play caller. I know the play calling is a work in progress. Love him in a leadership perspective, but yeah, definitely I think he's still learning as an offensive play caller. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. Just sometimes the offense is a little bit discombobulated, it feels like.
Unless we're trying to
But
win a game.
right. But yeah.
If we're trying to win the game,
Yeah.
then for whatever reason, KOC calls the best plays and our offense just fires on all cylinders.
But that kind of comes down to, could have been another down, Mark Schlereth, who I thought did a terrible job commentating. He was all over the Giants all game long. Just brutal. But he mentioned that he's like, I think when Kevin O'Connell said he talked to Ed Donatello, it was more of a, he said Kevin O'Connell talked to him and said, here's what I would do against your defense. And it's just too soft. You got to tighten it up a little bit. It's predictable, which I think is definitely what this defense is, and it definitely is predictable. So I think that's what Kevin O'Connell did say to him. I think he went up to him and just said, "Here's how I would attack you. How would you combat that?"
Yeah, and this, we talked about it before all season long. Like the biggest problem to me with our defense was our lack of pass rush. Mostly our lack of blitzes. Really, we were just not calling a lot of blitzes, and we were hoping that, Kevin O'Connell said that he's trying to figure out what the problem is with the defense, whatever. I think KOC went in there and told him we needed more blitzes, because ever since that Lions game, we've came out with a lot more blitzes these last two games, and it's been all the difference on defense, in my opinion. So
yeah, and the coverage is still soft at times. They do tighten it up at points, but but speaking of more pressure,
we could still get a little bit better.
But speaking of more pressure, which I mean, I was going to toss him into the honorable mention winners, but I'll just talk about him now. Daniil Hunter with 2 sacks this game looked like Daniil Hunter of old. You notice they're letting him go hand in the dirt a little bit on the interior of the line, which I think is huge for him. For sacks, DJ Wanham, Kairos Tunga each split one. So that Tunga's been really good, and I think we're finally seeing Wanham in kind of what he's supposed to be, that stand-up outside linebacker role.
Right.
Those guys could have been honorable mention winners near the end, but I figure since we were kind of talking about defense, might as well just toss those guys on there now. Any other thoughts on any downs before we move on to our next up?
Let's move on to the next one, because this is the player of the game, the player of this game, but my least favorite player in fantasy this week, because I'm in playoffs and I was against TJ Hawkinson and Kirk Cousins this week. And obviously, TJ Hawkinson has his best game by far as a Viking, probably one of his best games of his entire career against me. Dropped 35, of course. Luckily, I ended up having Fournette and Waddle, so I came back. So we're looking good.
Yeah, but
so we're all good, Hawkinson, just to let him know.
TJ Hawkinson broke a record, most receptions by a Minnesota Vikings tight end. 13 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, including this one right here. We ended up that acrobatic catch where Kirk kind of gave him a shot, just said, go get the ball. And he went and did that. Absolutely huge pickup there. Exactly with TJ Hawkinson. 13 catches, 109 yards for a tight end with 2 touchdowns is huge. Huge reason why we won this game. And you notice that Justin Jefferson is always here, but it seems like it's a rotation of who steps up from week to week. Last week it was KJ and Thielen. This week it was Hawkinson. So that's
Yeah.
what I like about this offense. We don't have that legitimate number 2, but we have a bunch of guys that can mix in there. And this guy right here, TJ Hawkinson, he's 25 years old, needs to remain a Viking long term. This is one of those guys they need to get signed to an
Yeah.
extension. But what a huge game from Hawkinson. Game MVP, if you ask me. I thought he played really, really
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
Obviously, got to give a lot of credit to Kirk Cousins as well, who I was going to mention him in honorable mentions as well, but might as well toss him out there now. Very up and down. Started off kind of, off. I felt like he held on to the ball way too long in spots this game, but overall, he made all the throws he needed to make, including the 2 to Hawkinson, the 1 to Thielen at the end of the game there. So I think Kirk played like Kirk normally does. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to win football games. And yeah, love the long. He looks like a Viking. That's what people said as soon as they signed him. But
and he's from
huge
Iowa,
game by
so.
TJ Hawkinson. Absolutely
Dude,
huge.
massive. What a stud. And I mean, I want to touch on that a little bit just because, one thing that I think all Viking fans that no one's talking about, because I forgot about it until today, really, is Irv Smith sounds like he's might be coming back in these next couple of weeks potentially. And I know he didn't really play the way we expected coming into the season. Like that's probably an understatement. We didn't see much from him, but he still has that potential to be a dangerous weapon. And if we bring him in here as our obvious our tight end number 2, and now he doesn't have to take that first string role, because that's obviously Hawkinson's, who's more than well deserved that, and we paid for it. So let him go. We don't need him. But I mean, hey, at this point, I'll take any extra receiving targets, and we'll see. What if he steps up and he ends up being a really good complementary to TJ Hawkinson? At this point,
Yeah,
who knows?
I think, I don't know. He might step back in, but I think we've seen the last of the idea of Irv Smith being a big contributor on this Vikings team.
We'll
It's
see.
too many injuries and
I am putting it out.
inconsistency.
He came back from injuries, year-long injury, got injured again.
Yeah,
there's a chance he comes in and still does something.
But TJ Hawkinson, though, like absolutely fantastic game by him.
Let me go through some PFF grades, though, for this game on our offense. We have another guy on this list that is going to be coming up here, but I'll just go through this. Our top 5 was number 1, of course, the guy who we're going to talk about very soon.
Let's just Jamie. You want me to skip?
You want me to wait?
We'll just go ahead
and just jump right into it.
We'll just talk about the guy right now, and that, of course, is
Justin's breaking records. Broke Randy Moss's and Chris Carter's record, right?
Yeah, but good point here, Johnny Munt. What a huge pickup! Like we signed him. I remember me and you were live during free agency, and we signed him. We're like, Johnny Munt, whatever. But the guy's actually pretty good when he gets a chance.
Dude,
he's
really good for at least one really good first down every single game. It's always a little tight end screen things, but it's fast, once every game he goes in there and gets a first down for us. I like
that point though. That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. Though I'm still not sleeping on Irv Smith for good here. I think that guy has too much talent, but we'll see. He didn't show us a lot before. Jefferson is more than the real deal. He's the greatest start of the wide receiver's career in NFL history.
I mean, it's just like you look at this, 12 for 133, and a touchdown. Almost just feels like a regular old Justin Jefferson game. It's whatever. It's why is he an up? He always does this. It's just normal for him. But on the day, sorry to break into your PFF grades here. We'll get into those in a second. We'll get there. But he has to be an up on a day when he broke a record of Randy Moss for most receiving yards for a season by a Viking. And he did it in 15 games. So you can't say, 17-game season. He did it in 15 games. Yep. And he broke Chris Carter's reception record for a season for the Minnesota Vikings. Absolutely huge.
Absolutely monstrous.
Those two names are on the Mount Rushmore of Viking receivers.
Those are the top 2 on the Mount Rushmore. And Justin Jefferson is 100% the third guy on there. And there's a very good chance he could be the number 1 guy on there in the future. We're well into the future, but because Randy Moss is arguably the greatest of all time. So that's a huge step there. Just like you got to love Justin Jefferson's humbleness. Like this guy is he's an on-field, off-the-field type of guy. His comment about saying Randy Moss has a gold jacket. That's what I really want. So I'm still chasing him after just beating his receiving record in his 3rd year with one less game. I mean, it's insane. Justin Jefferson's absolutely crazy, and we're so lucky to have him, man. If there's one thing, there's a lot of things being a Viking fan, a lot of disappointment, all that stuff. One thing we can say for sure is we've been spoiled on wide receivers, which is one of the sickest positions to even have in the NFL. So man, we are spoiled with Justin Jefferson. So again, thank you, Eagles. So now I'll jump in some PFF grades here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the top 5 PFF grades for the Vikings this game. I'll kind of go through them all though, actually. But Justin Jefferson, number 1, 85.7. TJ Hawkinson obviously has to be number 2, 84.7. Christian Darrisaw, 83. Did he get hurt this game? No. That was the game before. Who at this point he's always getting kind of hurt and coming back in. Ed Ingram actually 81.8. Ed Ingram's PFF grades, his grades overall, other than stepping on Kirk Cousins' shoes a lot, he has actually slowly been getting better and better as the season's progressed, which is huge for us. Ezra in Cleveland 79, Kirk Cousins 69.4, CJ Ham, the boy 69.3, Brian O'Neill 66.8 to kind of round out that offensive line is the lowest one here. Yeah. Delvin Cook 62.6, Greg's boy Johnny Munt 62, KJ Osborne 60, Austin Schlottman, that would be really the center thing. We're supposed to get Garrett Bradbury back, I think. 57.6, Madison 55.7, and Adam Thielen had the lowest of this week with a 46.
Yeah, I mean, he only had the one catch. Greg, I want to get to a couple of your comments here. Do we think KJ can be the new wide receiver too? We kind of talked about it coming into the season that we thought he would take that next step.
For sure.
We both think he has the talent to do so, but it's just the consistency hasn't been there. And I don't know if it's like scheme. Maybe they're just not looking at him all the time, but we saw what he could do last game with the 157.
Exactly.
So he has all the talent in the world to do so. I don't know if there's just something with him and Kirk, maybe not on the same page yet, or if Kevin O'Connell just isn't drawing up plays for him. But as we kind of mentioned earlier, this team has a couple guys that can step into that number 2 role week to week. So we definitely think he could be. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of plan on that going into next season. But I hate to agree with this point, but it is something with Thielen. Like we know he could still, but he had the drop this last week, just the one catch. He's not as quick as he was before, obviously. I don't know. I hate to say it because I love Adam Thielen. You love the story. You love these Minnesota kid, the humbleness, the work ethic, the talent he had for years. But I hate to say it, but I do think that I do think that he might be nearing the end here. I don't know.
I guess my 2 cents about Thielen is I don't think he's done. I do
he's
think
not worth
maybe,
19 million that he's on.
Yeah. I could say that. Maybe done being a Viking because we can't afford it. He's not worth that money. He might be done as a reliable wide receiver too. Is he done in the NFL? No, I don't think there's I don't think there's like 60 other wide receivers that's better than Adam.
I don't think he's going to want to play anywhere else though.
He might not.
I think he's just going to want to retire if he doesn't.
Yeah, he might. But I still think he has a lot of talent. I don't think he's as good as he was. KJ, that one's, we did see what, like Casey said, we did see what he had last week. But, like you said again, like this week, we didn't see as much of him. Maybe it was game plan. Maybe it wasn't us getting the ball in his hands enough, which I did feel like we didn't because, when we get these little short passes to KJ, he gets at least like 5 yards because he's like just a big, strong wide receiver. And we didn't do that enough this game.
3 catches on 4 targets.
KJ Osborne?
Yeah. Thielen only had 1 catch on 5 targets.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a Hawkinson game, but
16 targets each for Hawkinson and JJ.
Yeah, that's insane. And that's what's huge about Hawkinson being on this offense, man. Especially that game. If he can just do anything close, even anything close to that on a weekly basis.
We're talking Travis Kelce numbers. No, we're not. But
hey, man, you never know. This guy was a top 10 pick.
But has he stepped into that conversation of a top 3, maybe 5 tight end? I think
top 5 for sure. I think he was considered. There's not really a lot of super stud tight. There's like a drop off in tight ends for sure in the league nowadays. Yeah, that's a good question too, Greg, because actually that was another thing we were getting beat early from maybe this entire game. Even our offensive line PFF grades were pretty good. I felt like the pass rush was getting to Kirk Cousins pretty early, and I don't remember if KOC made any adjustments. But I was wondering, just like the Dallas game, like why don't we put CJ Ham in there, another tight end to block for Kirk Cousins? Which earlier in the game we weren't doing that. But I don't know if KOC ended up pulling that for us or not. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I'm not sure. But I know KOC did say today in his press conference that he does want to He said it's on him that they didn't run the ball more because we were running it with some success. He's like, it's got to be on me to get Delvin more involved. So, but anyway, Justin Jefferson, absolute stud. As we kind of some honorable mention ups before we get into our last down, which is kind of a fun one for me here.
Yeah.
Brian Asamoah, the rookie linebacker, who I think should see the field more. I loved him coming out of the draft. He had the forced fumble recovery. Patrick Peterson, after he kind of figured his shit out, got the interception. Kirk Cousins, as we already kind of mentioned, was up and down this game. But, of course, when you need Kirk to be Kirk, he's Kirk. Comeback kid, another comeback win in the fourth quarter. Another game-winning drive led by Kirk Cousins. Justin Jefferson, like Kevin O'Connell with that screen pass. I thought it was weird throwing a screen in that situation when you're watching it at first, but then you realize that Wink Martindale was blitzing. So it was a great way to beat the blitz. Got up there, spiked the ball, kicked a long field goal. Any other honorable mention ups you can think of? And yes, the screens have been pretty good these last couple games too. I think it's just picking the right spots for sure. And Kirk getting the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker as well was. I've noticed that's when it really works well.
I would probably just want to say, like, we gotta just talk about Duke Shelley again, because every single week, or not every single week, but these last 2 weeks, he has really stepped up, and we pulled him off the Bears practice squad, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Had all these injuries, brought him up. He had that huge play against the Bills. Then he obviously took a back step with letting Evans come back, whatever. In these last 2 games, last week he had a 90.1, I think 90.1 or something like that PFF grade. And again, to this week, he had our third highest on defense with a 74.9, not as high, but still, man, that guy's come in and really stepped up from a position that could have destroyed our defense with all these injuries. Patrick Peterson, I mean, we've gone all the way down to our fourth cornerback, and he's stepping up, and that's huge for these victories and moving forward.
Paul, thanks for joining us again. Bobby, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. How about unloading Gregory's done nothing? Yeah. The experiment didn't work. I appreciate them giving it a shot. Like, why not? If you could pick them up, which we did. But hasn't really worked. But for everybody just joining, we'll go through a good return guy. Yeah, he's serviceable at least. He catches the ball and doesn't drop them, unlike Amir Smith-Marset. But for those of you just joining, go through. We're doing some ups and downs here. First one was Greg Joseph, of course, 61 yarders and really nails kicks recently. Talked about some special teams. The punts were good. Coverage by Naylor was kind of iffy. Went through some in general downs with some defensive issues, and maybe some inconsistencies on the offense as well. We talked about the pass catches this game with JJ and Hawkinson, how they were both looking pretty good. Jamie, do you remember where Duke?
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick.
Like 80, was it like an 81 or something like that? 86?
I think it was like high 80s, or I'll look it up, but I think it was high 80s or low 90s. But let's see. He had which was number one. He had 83.9. So 83.9 this week is 79.6, whatever I said already. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, honorable mention. He definitely deserved to be there. I do want to actually go through the rest of these defensive PFF grades, though. For the top 5, it's Danielle Hunter, 91.4. Number 2, this is another guy who stepped up big, and Casey mentioned him. That's Brian Asamoah with a 91.3, and what a beautiful punch. He punched that ball perfectly. Was still able to had all that like momentum, and still was able to pick up that ball without going out of bounds, gain some yards. I think if he would have had, a lot more field in front of him, I think he would have brought that one to the house, because he is super fast. And Brian Asamoah, we loved him. Casey specifically loved him going into the draft, and we both loved him going into this season. And man, that guy really deserves more and more.
What was the big thing when we were doing our draft preview? What was the big thing I noticed with him? I said the motor. Like, he seemed like a high fly, like a fast, like a high energy, like just flies around the field. And that's all we've seen with him in special teams, as well as
you see that play, like he went in there, and his punch accuracy was perfect. Like, I will not want to run into him, not just because he's probably like 250 straight muscle, whatever, but that guy's got some accuracy with his punches, man, because he punched that ball out so perfect. And man, those are the big plays. Those are some veteran plays, and he's a rookie, and he just needs more opportunity. What a star. We like him, and I'm excited of watch his career going forward here. But I'll keep rolling through these PFF grades on defense. Duke Shelley already said it, 74.9. Josh Metellus didn't have a ton of snaps, but he had 73. Delvin Tomlinson, who had some really nice run stops on Saquon Barkley, 70.6. Harrison Smith, 70.4. Zadarius Smith, 69.9. And we'll just end it here with Cameron Bynum at 68.7.
Sure. I did want to
Yeah.
get into where was that question here? I heard anything about Bradbury. Kevin O'Connell said in his press conference he's still working through the back injury. Obviously, if you didn't know, he was in a car accident last Saturday after the Colts game. So they said that set him back a little bit. They're hoping he can get on the field, get some work in. Kevin O'Connell also said they're going to be practicing outside this week in preparation for that game. Paul says, nice for Hunter. Exactly. Hunter played really well this game. Nice to see him kind of bounce back.
Right.
Letting him put his hand in the dirt was huge as well. Like that. And of course, the peanut punch. That's kind of what everyone's going to talk about there. That's awesome. But I did want to get into our final down here. This isn't Minnesota Vikings related, but it is Minnesota Vikings related. And that man is Tua turn the ball over. I mean,
Tua turn the ball over.
Or 2-on-overs, interceptions, whatever the hell you want to say. What, like, you could have dashed the Packers' playoff hopes. You had this game in the bag. You were up 10 points in the fourth quarter, late in the third, and you come out 3 drives in a row to end that game and throw 3 terrible interceptions. I don't know where the hell you were throwing the football. Tua Tagovailoa, however you pronounce his last name, is what the media thinks Kirk Cousins is. This guy that plays well sometimes, but when the pressure, I know he's only a third-year guy, whatever. But remember, they were talking about him as being the number 1 overall pick. And are the Bengals making a mistake taking Joe Burrow? Right. Are the Chargers making a mistake with Justin Herbert? No.
Tua's picked before Herbert.
Yeah, but Tua, I like you. I think you still got some talent. Your arm's not huge. But
dude,
man,
he choked so hard, bro.
Yeah, I was so mad watching that game.
Dude, I can just hear the media salivating. It pisses me off so much, dude. Like, come on, do not let Aaron Rodgers do this.
I was watching this morning. They're saying the Vikings should watch out. The Packers are on a roll. The Packers are coming. They beat nobody these last 2 weeks. Stop it. Tua gave them this game. And I don't think his concussion concern still, because he was dropping dimes before last week. I know he's been struggling the last couple weeks, but
last game he was playing great the entire game until the last 3 drives.
Yeah.
Which luckily I had Jalen Watt on my fantasy team. I really need a lot from him. So, I respect Tua for getting the ball to him. But every time he didn't, he threw an interception. So maybe he should have got me more fantasy.
Tyreek Hill had a good game as well. But I don't know, man. Then, of course, you had the BS roughing the passer call on Rodgers, which I'm excited. No, I'm not. I'm going to be very frustrated to see what type of calls the refs are going to drum up to get the Packers in the playoffs next week. It's going to be rough.
Or not the playoffs, but the game.
Some beers. Greg, I do agree. I'm a huge Joe Burrow guy. I know some people aren't. Some people, I think Joe Spinoza works with us on the Purple Coat. He's not a fan of him. I don't know why. I love Joe Burrow.
I like Joe.
I think Joe Burrow's an absolute stud quarterback.
He's my fantasy quarterback too.
I'm a huge fan of Joe Burrow.
And I'm going to the championship, hopefully, depending on tonight.
Thanks, Tua. Now we got to listen to the Packers get talked up all week. We're not going to hear anything about the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming game because it is what it is, I suppose. But
we're going to have another video later this week based on.
We'll be talking a lot about this upcoming game, man.
Yeah, I mean, right now though, like we got to go in there and we got to annihilate their dreams. Any dreams? Like this is our season. We cannot turn this into Aaron Rodgers bringing the Packers to the playoffs. And then all of a sudden the Packers are favored to win the Super Bowl again and probably get destroyed by San Francisco anyways. So
how funny would it be if for some reason, I mean, I would hate it because we'd fall out of the 2 seed, but if we lose or something and they win out and the Packers get excited about, we made it in as a 7 seed. And then they got to go to San Francisco in the first round and just absolutely get washed out.
Dude, that would be funny, but it'd be more funny if they just didn't make playoffs to me. I want them to just not play.
I just don't want to see them even in because I'm tired of listening to the media and whatever.
They just need to not make it and be looked at as the shitty team that they are now. This is our season. This is our year. Get them out of here. We need to be the ones to take them out.
Yeah. Greg, let's get our second start to finish game against the Packers in 2 tries.
Yeah, in 2 tries. The only other team that we've had a start to finish game was against the Packers. And I feel like this is the week to do it again.
And Kevin O'Connell, I can't get a good read on how he feels because he has said that he's mentioned, rotating some guys in a little bit more. I think we're starting to see that a little bit as well.
Right.
But that 2 seed is just so important because you want that chance at 2 whole playoff games. I just don't know. And obviously I think since we're talking about Justin Jefferson, let's talk a little bit of history here. 208 away from Kelvin Johnson, 244 away from 2K. I think with the way that Justin Jefferson is as a competitor, and I think with the way that this team is, and with Kevin O'Connell like realizing he wants to win and he wants to get, I think he wants W's and everything, but I think he also understands that players and stats, like they want those stats, and Justin Jefferson wants to be that guy. So I would say the fact that we're still fighting for the 2 seed is a good excuse to keep your starters out there and let Justin Jefferson go get that record.
And not just that if the Eagles lose next week and we win, we go into the last week of this year with a chance for that number 1 seed too. So hopefully it goes down. Hopefully it goes down to that, because I want to see Justin Jefferson break that record. And just like you said, KOC seems like the total opposite. I don't know. It might not be the smartest thing to do, but the total opposite of Zimmer, where I think if there's a record on the line for JJ, I don't see KOC being the guy to be like, too bad. No, I think you let JJ do that. Hopefully. So, I mean, speaking of that, I think, what is he? I think he's 208 yards away from
208 away from Kelvin Johnson and then 244 away from 2K.
Yeah, from 2K. So I want that 2K, son. I want that 2K. And so I'm hoping this week against the Packers we get at least like 150 on Justin. That's probably I'm gonna have my player prediction is gonna be Justin Jefferson. I don't know what that number is gonna be yet, but I'm really hoping we go into that last game with he doesn't need more than 100 yards to get the.
And the weather in Green Bay at this point is gonna be not that bad. They're saying like 37 to 40 degrees somewhere around there, so it's not really gonna be like the typical
Lambeau Field in December,
which will be huge. Very nice to have here. So
yeah. No, overall though, we have to put our foot on the throats. We got to take all momentum out. We need to be that team.
Yeah, and I hope we haven't done this year yet, other than the one game. But
yeah,
I mean, and this, I don't know. By the way, it was a fun game on Christmas Eve to watch. It was nice because I could have a couple of drinks and not have to worry about waking up for work the next morning. Found a way to win. Greg Joseph was our first up for today. Absolutely just nails on that 61-yard field goal. Ton of credit to Greg Joseph and Kevin O'Connell for the culture he's brought here, sticking with him after all the struggles he went through early on. I thought was huge. Kirk distributing the ball to JJ and Hawkins in this game was absolutely ginormous. Still, defensively, still not great. A little soft at times, but it was nice. We're bringing the blitz a little more, which is nice to see. We're trying some different things. We're playing a little tighter coverage at times. This team makes me drink more than I should. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
This year.
And Bobby says that there's plenty of contagious motivation to get Rodgers again. I sure hope so. And then obviously, just with the pass catchers, Justin Jefferson already breaking Vikings history, approaching NFL history here, and it's pretty spectacular what the guy has done in a little over 2 years in the league. So
insane, literally like league history, insane. But yeah,
any other thoughts on the game at all before we jump into?
Not too much. We'll go into this more this week. This is a huge game. Man, this fucking Packers. I hate them. I hate them.
Scheduled for this week. We'll be live on Wednesday night with Dave of Minnesota Sports Talk and Shelby tweeting of Twitter. And to talk about this last week plus the upcoming game, and then we'll have our preview for the Packers game coming out on Friday. So make sure to keep an eye out for both of those.
All right, let's do our Instagram giveaway. So every week on our Instagram, we do this giveaway. If you want to learn more about how to enter those, I don't know how many more Instagram ones we are going to do. I want to do more on these live streams, but I'd like to have 5 people in here interested in doing that. And again, today we did it last week. Paul, who's actually in here, I think, if he's still in here, he won it last week. If we have 5 people in here that put skol in the chat, I will run a giveaway right on here. Otherwise, we run this one on Instagram, which we have our username in the description. Go to our username or go to our Instagram, find out how to do that. But yeah, let's run this right away here. And let's see who wins this Justin Jefferson rookie card. And it's Can't Be Copied Customs. Congrats, Can't Be Copied Customs. Can't Be Copied Customs. We will hit you up on Instagram and get the information to your mailing address, all that good stuff. Send it out right away. But yeah, if we have, so who's all in here? We got Paul in here. We have 8 people in here. If we can get 5 people in here who wants to win this Justin Jefferson rookie card, I will run it.
That's a college card, isn't it?
No, well, technically, but it's a rookie card. It's just his draft picks version of one.
It's pretty sick. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What we got? Season nearing the end. Let's see here. Season nearing the end, and I don't see us getting any better. We are winning, but not like a good playoff team does. I'm shaking on the playoffs.
Got it. I mean, it's just that's the way the season has gone. No one's had any faith every week. We're just like, what are we going to do this week? How are we going to find a way to lose it? And we just don't. So
that's the thing.
The one
it's like
thing I would say
we have
going
that,
into the playoffs is we just find ways to win games.
Yeah, we have that it factor. It's like we do not win games the way we should, and it is scary going into the playoffs. But we do have that it factor as this team, as we just end up winning games.
Absolutely. But anyway, I think it's a good.
We'll give this a try. I'm gonna say I want to get to 5 entries. We will give this a shot. We'll see if there's enough people who do it. Let me set it up to see. All right.
Yeah, Philly and Dallas would both be really tough games, unfortunately. But luckily, we'd get Dallas here again, which would be big if we at least get it to be the home. Yeah, I don't know. And then Philly, yeah, Philly's scary, especially theirs, because we know how Philly fans can be. That would be a really interesting rematch, though. Rematch of the 2017 NFC Championship game as well as week 2 of this season. Totally different teams, though, which is kind of cool. But yeah, Paul's right. They both definitely can be had.
All right. So if you want to try to enter this, we'll see how much it gets to, and then we'll run it if it gets a appealing amount to us. To enter this, put hashtag skol into the comments. You'll see you'll see if you got entered or not. Let's start doing that. But so there's one. Did it switch to it?
Hashtag skol.
Yep. Oh yeah, there we go. Come on, everybody. Can't just be Paul. Free rookie card. Let's go. But no, man. I don't know. It's just these Packers, dude. Awesome. So we got 2. We got 2 in here. Let's keep it going. Remember, Donato will be calling those games. He's the weakest link. Like we've said before, the positive thing is ever since that Lions game, other than like the bad or the off coverage or whatever, what is that, shell coverage? Our pass rush has definitely taken it up quite a bit in the last 2 games. So that's been huge. So we got 3. Let's keep going. Bobby, 3 entries.
I'm looking on the YouTube part here. Bobby's comment just popped. We got to put a hashtag in front of that.
Yep, Bobby Bechette. Hashtag skol. Got to put the hashtag. That's how you get the entry. Hashtag skol. I will run this on 4. I'll run this on 4. So Bobby, if you get
Bobby
in
will get it. Just hashtag skol. We'll be right in it. But man, I love Pat. I bet like that game's gonna be rocking too. It's gonna be a 325er, which is gonna be nice to see. Afternoon game. Get some beers flowing.
Yep.
Fun. Be a good time.
I know. Hopefully it ends up with a W, which it should, and we destroy all the hopes to the Packers.
That would be huge. We need one more, right, Jamie?
Yep, one more. I know, Bobby, you want in. I feel like we have to let you in here. If you're listening, just hashtag skol and you're in. So close. We're so close.
There we go. Well,
we got it in.
Does it have to be lower? Oh, yeah, it'll pop in here in a second. Let's go crazy against the Packers. Yep, there we go. It's on 4.
All right, we'll run this. Let's go answer this, though. Let's go crazy on the Packers, man. We got to.
So,
This will be so perfect to be our first complete game since the first game of the year against the Packers, and it'd be so great just to destroy their hopes and dreams.
for
But
sure.
yeah, let's run this. So we got 4. We're gonna keep doing this every week. I like I said, we run one on Instagram specifically. I'd like to just do it straight up in here. It's more fun. We can talk to all you guys, and it brings some excitement to all this good stuff. But yeah, let's run this. Where is my stream thing? Okay, there we go. And here we go.
Oh,
Paul H again. Paul H
Jeez.
again, dude.
Paul, you are one lucky son of a gun, man.
That's why he's in here. I don't blame him. Congrats, Paul. I already got all your information, so I will send you another Justin Jefferson rookie card. And yeah, man.
Yeah, you guys could
Congrats
all,
again,
if
Paul.
you keep joining us for these, you guys could all be Paul and win multiple cards,
Yeah, dude.
like
He's
multiple weeks in a row. But anyway, yeah, we'll make sure to hit you up, Paul, get that to you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, really exciting football game. The season's been fun. Just full on enjoy the ride season and see how far we can get. See how far we can take this thing. But it all got to beat the Packers. That's all I care about. We could rest our starters week 17. Just got to beat the Packers here.
We got to beat the Packers here.
One more comment coming in. I did want to answer before we go. Who do you think is coming out of the AFC? I like Cincy. I would say Cincy or Buffalo. I just think with Kansas City not getting that home field advantage all the way through the playoffs this year, I'm gonna go Cincinnati or Buffalo. I think that's gonna be
hard. It's hard for me to go against Kansas City though. It's hard. I would probably say Kansas City or Buffalo. I think I do like Cincy. It's crazy because Cincy started off so slow. They were the ones who had the Super Bowl. Super Bowl slump or whatever they call it?
Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, Super Bowl hangover. They started off so bad. The Rams had a decent start, and then talk about the difference. Even though Baker Mayfield, one interesting status out of today though is he has more completions in his 3 games as a Ram than Justin Fields has this entire season. Yeah. Which I think is pretty funny, but that's crazy, man. He's having a weird year for sure. But yeah, Bobby,
that game was weird. Hey, thank God we didn't hire. Speaking of Kevin O'Connell, say what you will. Thank God we didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, we interviewed.
Turns out he can definitely not hack it. He is not a good NFL head coach. And that team was losing by like letting the Rams put a 50 on you. Insane.
Dude, I did not see that coming. And I did a DraftKings and I put Denver's defense as in my DraftKings, and that was an obvious mistake. Yeah. Even though it seemed like their defense has been good for the most part this whole year. But
anyway.
Yeah, Greg, Bobby, all you guys, Austin, Paul, of course, Paul, 2 weeks in a row, won the car. That's awesome. Keep joining us. We have more cards to give away. We love the conversations we have. An exciting year going into playoffs, division leading, Justin Jefferson record breaking, Greg Joseph hitting field goals over 60 yards to win games. It's just that kind of season. So,
yep. Again, thanks for joining. We'll see you guys. Remember, Wednesday we'll be live around 7 p.m. with Dave of Minnesota Sports Talk.
With us and Shelby.
And then Friday we'll have our preview of
I think you'll be disappointed.
Next coming Green Bay Packer game, which is really fun. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Hopefully we'll see you and see you in our other stuff.
Skol Vikes.
Greg, one more comment coming in here. Greg says, first time with you guys. Thanks. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, man. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
If you haven't done that already, please. That'd be awesome. We really appreciated your dialogue here. You're the top commenter of the day, which is huge. So thanks.
Yeah. We love it. We need more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
We've been new to the live things ourselves, so we're just getting used to it and building up everybody and all that good stuff. So we appreciate it big time.
See you later this week.